Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we're gonna move on, and we're gonna go talk about what's going on with Canada. You know, Canada. I feel bad for you Canadians because you Canadians really got to deal with this dictator of Justin Trudeau and the complete absurdity and insanity of that country. And I hope to God that you do leave, and maybe you won't be under a communist rule. Because what's happening there is insanity. A wizard, a witch, a drag queen, and a child stand by as a Canadian legislator launches drag show protection bill. A Canadian budget now proposed a law allowing Ontario's Attorney General to criminalize offensive remarks within 100 meters of a drag show, including so-called drag queen story hours for children. If passed, the measure would create a football-sized 2S a community safe zone around drag shows and other LGBT events in Ontario. Anyone who protests within the zone will be subject to $25,000 fine under the legislation. Any homophobic, transphobic, or act of intimidation, threat, offensive threats, offensive remarks, protest, disturbance, and distribution of hate propaganda will be prohibited by law if the bill passes, sponsor Kristen Wong-Tam said Tuesday in a press conference. Wong-Tam, who was presented Toronto Centre in the Legislative Assembly of Ontario since last year, uses their personal pronouns they, them, and reportedly identifies as non-binary. Joining Wong-Tam for the process conference were a wizard, a witch, and two drag queens, two people wearing masks, a white woman and a white woman, and a child and a disabled minority. So, we're going to go over this, we're going to view this video and see what's going on here. After this article, obviously, because, you know, drag artists have faced threats and intimidation across all Ontario, blah, blah, blah. Canada has a recent history of woke legislation. A new law passed last year requires parents, pastors, counselors, friends, and others to affirm a person's gender identity, gender expression, or sexual orientation, or face jail time. In America, drag shows are a key proponent of radical gender ideology. In 2021, a judge show on PBS featured drag queen and author Little Miss singing, dancing, and reading a book about drag queens to an intended audience of 3 to 8-year-olds. The Smithsonian American Art Museum hosted a Pride Family Day event over the summer featuring an age-appropriate drag queen show for children aged 3 and up. Republican lawmakers in states including Florida, Texas, Tennessee, and Arizona have proposed bills to prohibit drag shows for children. A constitutional lawyer based in Manitoba, Canada, Alison Kendall-Pejvik, said the Ontario bill will penalize free speech and the right to protest, both of which are protected under Canada's constitution. What is notable about the bill is that it is content-specific, targeting specific speech, while other speech and projects which may be offensive to different communities would be allowed. So, that's what's going on there. So let's take a look at this video on what this communist, anti-free speech woman has to say about it, rather.
Enables the Attorney General to create a 2S LGBTQI+ community safety zone to prohibit within 100 meters of the property any homophobic, transphobic act of intimidation, threat, offensive threats, offensive remarks, protest, disturbance, and distribution of hate propaganda within the meaning of the criminal code. It also comes with it a penalty of $25,000 if prosecuted successfully.
And then we have Drag Queen Story Hours, explicitly designed to re-engineer child sexuality and create a site of queer pleasure between adult male transvestites and young children. I did a deep dive for City Journal here. So, I'll be posting this article, obviously, in the description below, so don't worry about that. I won't be going over the full thing because the article is quite long, but we're going to read about a little bit of it to kind of get an understanding of what's going on here. Drag Queen Story Hour, in which performers in drag read books to kids in libraries, schools, and bookstores, has become a cultural flashpoint. The political right has denounced these performances as sexual transgressions against children, while the political left has defended them as an expression of LGBTQ pride. The intellectual debate has even spilled into real-world conflict. Right-wing militants affiliated with the Proud Boys and the 3%ers have staged protests against drag events for children, while their counterparts in the left-wing Antifa movement have responded with offers to serve as a protection force for the drag queens. Families with children find themselves caught in the middle. Drag Queen Story Hour pitches itself as a family-friendly event to promote reading, tolerance, and inclusion. In spaces like this, the organizer's website reads, kids are able to see people who defy rigid gender restrictions and imagine a world where everyone can be their authentic selves. But many parents, even if reluctant to say it publicly, have institutions to trust adult men in women's clothing, dancing and exploring sexual things with their children. These concerns are justified, but to mount an effective opposition, one must first understand the sexual politics behind the glitter, queens, and heels. This requires a working knowledge of an extensive history from the origin of the first queen of drag in the late 19th century to the development of academic queen theory, which provides intellectual foundation for the modern drag for kids movement. The drag queen might appear as a comic figure, but he carries an utterly serious message: the destruction of sex, the reconstruction of child sexuality, and the subversion of middle-class family life. The ideology that drives this movement was born in the sex dungeons of San Francisco and incubated in the Academy. Academy. It is now being transmitted with official state support in a number of public libraries and schools across the United States. By activating the foundation of this ideology and sifting through the literature of its activists, parents and citizens can finally understand the new sexual politics and formulate a strategy for resisting it. This will be the last one I'll read here. It starts with the queer theory, the academic discipline born in 1984 with the publication of Gail S. Rubin's essay, Thinking Sex, Notes for a Radical Theory of the Politics of Sexuality. Beginning in the late 70s, Rubin, a lesbian writer and activist, and had immersed herself in the subcultures of leather, bondage, orgies, fisting, and sadomasochism in the San Francisco, migrating through an ephemeral network of BDSM, bondage, domination, and sadomasochism clubs, illiterary societies, and new age spiritualist gatherings, and Thinking Sex. Rubin sought to reconcile her experience in the sexual underworld with the broader forces of American society. Following the work of the French theorist Michel Foucault, Rubin sought to expose the power dynamics that shaped and repressed human sexual experience. So yeah, that's pretty much what this is. And obviously, as I said, I will put this down here, but let's put this in perspective. If you think this won't come to the United States, then think again. We had to push back as hard as humanly possible. This entire thing is disgusting, and what's happening in Canada is a complete danger to children. We'll see so many more rapes of children, so many sexuality of children. It's just going to be an abomination. It is a pedophile's haven for this bill to pass. Absolutely a pedophile's haven. And it's disgusting that we have people trying to advocate for this, vote for this, and put it into law. Literally trying to advocate for child sexuality and child sex. That's pretty much what it is. And that you can't put it any other way. We need to stop this, and we need to stop this now for the sake of the children. Alright guys, that's this video. Like, subscribe, share, and as always, take care.